Shalom. We come to another study, which is specifically in response to a discussion, group discussion that happened around Passover, or the first day of unleavened bread, 2024. And the subject matter was, or the question, one of the question was, when is the Passover meal eaten? Is it at the evening beginning of the 14th day, or the evening at the ending of 14th day? And you know, the Bible says the evening and the morning was the first day. So a 24-hour period a day goes from evening to evening. So you have an evening at the beginning and at the evening at the end of the day. Just like when you run around a racing track, you stop and start. You start and end at the same spot. Okay, so we're going to try and answer that question. At the top of the screen, you see a chart that has the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, so a week's chart. God gave each day numbers, and he gave the last day of the week a name, Sabbath. You cannot put that name Sabbath at any other place, any of the other days, because it's a name for just that period of time. And assuming sunset is at 6 p.m., obviously we all know if it was according to the year, I've taken a standard 6 p.m. sunset time to start and close each day. And you see here, I have the first section. The day has 4 sections, which we come on to later on in Mark chapter 13, verse 35. An evening, a night, a cock crowing time, what we call dawn or early part of our day or morning, and then the morning. And then starts again with another evening, another night, and so forth. Now I've underneath that lined up, or attempted to line up, the calendar we use today in the world, and the names of those days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Now you note that the days do not quite line up, because these days start at midnight, midnight to midnight. So it will be halfway, 6 hours past this chart here. Actually, it's not halfway, but anyway, you get the point. Yes, it's 6 hours into the first day that started, biblical first day. Right. So now coming on to the text. When is the Passover eaten? I may speak slower than I usually do, because I want you to take in the scriptures as I'm saying them, rather than if I go too fast and you lose track of your thoughts. Firstly, though some Christians accuse the Jews of today of getting things wrong, we must remember they eat the Passover meal at the end of the 14th day, just before the 15th day starts. The 15th day being the first day of unleavened bread begins. Okay, that said, let us look at the Bible guidance. First, the order of a 24-hour biblical day. As I said, we get that in Mark chapter 13, verse 35, where it says, "Watch you therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at evening, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or the morning." So that is where I've got those 4 sections of the day there. Coming now on to the Passover. This Exodus chapter 12, verse 2 read, "This month shall be unto you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. In the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb." This is the family. Now, cut out some of the words so you can focus on actually what the essence of the sentence of the verse, rather than getting lost with the extended wording of it. So on the 10th day, every man takes a lamb, head of the family. Verse 12, "Keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening." So we will not do anything before 6 p.m. On the ninth day, or when so we do not do anything on days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. We keep it until the 14th day, and that is when everything starts. Okay, keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly will kill it in the evening. So we're to kill it in the evening of the 14th day. Now, is this the evening at the beginning of the 14th day, or the evening at the ending of the 14th day? That is what we're going to try and answer. And you will see the answer in verse 18, verse 21, Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 4, and 14, verse 6, which says going down of the sun. Okay, so we'll see if the sun, which going down the sun are we talking about? Bear in mind those verses. Okay, Exodus chapter 12, verse 7. And they shall take the blood and strike it on the two sides posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night. So we kill it in the evening and we eat it in the night. And the night we see comes after the evening. So it cannot be the anyway, yes, so we see the night follows the evening. So where are we up to? Kill it in the evening and eat it in the night. Verse 12, let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. So have we got the morning of the 14th day, or have we got the morning of the 15th day? We'll work that out. Thus the burning is in the morning following the night. Verse 11, and thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Why is that? Because they'll be ready to move out the next day. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover. For I pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. Now, presumably, the passing over is after the eating. So if they were to eat it in the beginning of the 14th day, or they're going to eat it at the ending, the evening of the ending of the 14th day. Thus both are on the same night of 12, verse 12, verse 8. So they've got it, they've kept it. Let's go back to verse 8 for a minute. And they shall eat the flesh in the night. They've got it the evening, brought it to the 14th day. They've done nothing with it beforehand. They kill it on the 14th day, and then they're going to eat it before the next morning. Make sure it's all gone. That's the sequence. Verse 11. So just read verse 11. So coming on to Exodus verse 12. So 12 verse 14. And this day shall be unto you for memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it by a feast, by an ordinance forever. Then we have 7 days of unleavened bread, verse 15, which is this 7 days of unleavened bread starts the evening, the Passover ends. Verse 15, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. So 7 days, we have 1 day for Passover, 7 days for leavened bread, and it's only the 7 days that we are not to eat leavened bread. So does this mean we can eat leaven on Passover, i.e. the 14th day? something for you to contemplate on. Verse 16, and in the first day there shall be a holy convocation. This is the first day of unleavened bread, the first day of the seventh, a holy convocation. And in the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation. It's the first and the end of the unleavened bread period to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that except that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So, how does this tally with 12:15? The first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. Is that seen as work, or does work exclude that putting away? Anyway, practically people put away the leaven on the 14th day, so rather than put it away on the 15th day. Verse 17, and you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this self same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. So he's bringing them out on the 15th, which is why they had to have their shoes and the staffs in their hand. So this implies it was the night, the ending evening of the 14th, not the evening of the ending the 13th, because then he'll be bringing them out to Egypt on the 14th rather than the 15th. Okay, thus we have 2 days to observe forever. 12:14, the day of Passover, to memorialize when Yah passed over them and killed the firstborn of the Egyptians. And verse 17, when Yah brought them out of Egypt's bond. So let's go back and look at 14 and 17. 14. This day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast forever. So that's the 14th day. And then verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the selfsame day, observe in your generations and ordinance forever. So there we are. The Passover and first of unleavened bread is to be observed. One for the passing over memorial, and another for bringing them out of the Egypt's bondage memorial. Okay, back to Passover combined with unleavened bread. Continue verse 18, Exodus 12:18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even. So note, before we are told we have to eat unleavened bread just for 7 days, the 7 days of unleavened bread. And now we are told in the first month on the 14th day of the month at evening, which tells us it's the evening at the end of the 14th day, just as part of the unleavened bread day started, is when we start eating the unleavened bread. Not on the evening of the beginning of the 14th day, which would be the ending of the 13th day. So here we have the starting of the 7 days of eating unleavened bread, starting at the evening at the end of the 14th day, the end of Passover. And that 7-day period concludes at the evening at the end of the last day of unleavened bread, the 21st day. Hope you've got that. Moving on to verse 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. The whole 7 days of unleavened bread, not so much the Passover day. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Thus, so we have one law for everybody, basically. Thus, leaven can be in the house on the 14th day, Passover, but not after its evening ending of that sunset. I hope you agree with that. Okay, so that's the instructions in Exodus chapter 2. Now let's see how they administered the instructions. Verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. So they're going to draw it out on the 14th day. Remember, they can't do anything without anything before the 14th day. They have to keep it until the 14th. So now is when the action starts. They're drawing it out on the 14th, and they're going to kill according to the families, and they're going to kill the Passover. Verse 22. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at that door of his house until the morning. So we have the morning of the past the evening when they did all of this. They did the eating and so forth. And remember, it's the same morning we heard about that he's going to take them out of Egypt on the 15th day. So again, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, yeah, I propose that it is the evening of the 14th day, not the evening. Sorry, ending of the 14th day, not evening, ending the 30th and starting the 14th. Coming on to verse 23. For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. Okay, so let me read the whole verse. 12:22. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. 23. For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. It would appear the drawing out of the lamb is on the actual day of the 14th. Thus it cannot be eaten at the evening preceding the day, i.e., at the close of the 30th day and beginning of the 14th. They were not to go out the house until the morning, meaning the morning of the 15th, the day of unleavened bread. The passing over and smiting of the Egyptians was on the evening night ending the 14th. I submit to you. So, Yah's passing over. Now on to verse 29 of Exodus 12. And it came to pass at that midnight. So remember the sequence: evening, night, cockcrow, morning. At midnight, that Yahweh smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, and Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. 31. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night, says the same night that God is doing Passover, and said, rise up and get you forth from among my people. So this is the night, is when the people are sleeping. Pharaoh assumed the Israelites would be sleeping, hence his instruction, rise up. However, Yah had told them to be ready, packed, shoes on, feet prepared to leave in a haste, not to give the Egyptians time to get over their grief, turn to anger, and stop them from leaving or attacking them. That attacking came later. Then they did get over the grief, and Pharaoh got his chariots and followed them. Verse 42. It is a night to be much observed unto Yahweh for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. 46. In one house shall it be eaten, thou shalt not carry forth aught any of it of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof. Remember that, we're going to need that for Yeshua. 51. And it came to pass the selfsame day that Yahweh did bring the children of Israel out of Egypt by their armies. This is the 15th day to bring them out. So they did the eating at the evening of the 14th. Pharaoh called them out. God passed over in the nighttime. Pharaoh called in the middle of the night and said, get out. And they left then. So remember, we are now on the 15th day. 12:46. In one house shall be eaten. I've done that. 51. And it came to pass the self same day. I've done that. Right. So Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 4. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts 7 days. Neither shall there be anything of flesh which thou sacrificest the first day of unleavened bread. Remain all night until the morning. Again, so that collaborates on what we read in Exodus. Deuteronomy 16, verse 5. Thou mayest not sacrifice a Passover within any of thy gates, which Yahweh thy God giveth thee. Have I read that right? Thou mayest not sacrifice a Passover within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, but at a place which Yahweh thy God shall choose to place his name in. There thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at evening, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which Yahweh thy God shall choose, and thou shalt turn in the morning and go to thy tents. So that's the second description of what happens at the Passover time. So let's come on to the New Testament events now and see how that tallies with the Exodus 12 original event. Matthew chapter 26, verse 2. You know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover. Mark chapter 12, verse 41. After 2 days was the feast of the Passover and of unleavened bread. So we see in Matthew 26, 2, the whole 8 days is given the title Passover. In Mark 14, verse 1, it is more specific, Passover and unleavened bread. Luke chapter 12, 22, verse 1. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew near, which is called the Passover. So the Passover is used for both the whole thing, the whole 8 days, and also sometimes singly for the single day. So now we established that. So when we see the word Passover, don't think it's just talking about the 14th day is my point. It could be talking about a whole 8-day period, or even just the 7 days of unleavened bread. Okay, Mark 14, 12. And the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover. So here we have, going back to Exodus, they killed the Passover the night ending the 14th, which spilled over past the sunset to the first day of unleavened bread. His disciples said unto him, Where wilt thou that we go and prepare that thou mayest eat the Passover? Now the first, Matthew 26, 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? So remember, now on the day 15th, they're coming to him and saying, Where are we going to go and do this eating Passover? 22:7, Luke 22:7. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. So again, not the night time or not the ending of unleavened bread day, but the beginning of it, which is just the ending of the Passover, the 14th day crossed over to the 15th day, when Passover must be killed. 22, Luke 22:8. And he sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. But he reflected those words for a minute. According to Matthew chapter 26, verse 17, this is the evening commencing the 15th day, possibly just after sunset, the 14th day. Matthew 26, verse 20. Now when the evening was come, he sat down with the 12. This is the evening of the first day of unleavened bread, being the ending of the, I think this should be 14th day. I've made a mistake here. Ending of the 14th day. Now when the evening was come, he sat down with this is the evening of the unleavened bread, being the ending of the 14th day. I hope it should be okay. Matthew 26, verse 20. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then said Yeshua unto them, all you shall be offended because of me this night. So we had the evening, we now into the night part, just like in Exodus part. This, I assume, is after sunset, the 15th day, which would make it biblically the 16th day. Unless both evening and night are parts before the ending of the 14th day. Again, we shall work that out as it fits with all the other script verses. Matthew 26, verse 34. Yeshua said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, this is talking to Peter, that this night, before the cock crowing, so we had the evening when it ate, we had the midnight, when he was arrested in the garden, and Jews telling Peter that before the next day, for the cock crowing part, that he would deny him 3 times. Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Luke 22, 34. And he said, I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day, to my 24-hour period. The night of Matthew 26, 34 is the same 24-hour period as this day of Luke 22, 34. Again, I'll pause you to reflect on that. Luke 22, 66. And as soon as it was day, the elders of the people and the chief priests and the scribes came together and led him into their council, saying, so now it's the daytime now, the bright daylight time. John 18:28. Then led they Yeshua from Caiaphas onto the hall of judgment, and it was early, and they themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. Thus the meal Yeshua had with his disciples before was not the Passover meal, was this yet to be eaten by the Jewish people. I hope you agree that. John 19, verse 14. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour, verse 31. The Jews, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for that Sabbath day was a high Sabbath. So we are now on the 15th day, and at sunset, that day was a high Sabbath. So it is the 15th day, because remember, the first and last day of unleavened bread are the Holy Convocation days. So we're on the first day of unleavened bread. Further proof, the meal with the disciples was not the Passover meal. The high day is the first day of unleavened bread. John 19:33. But when they came to Yeshua and saw that he was dead already, they broke not his legs. Remember, we read this in Exodus. John 19:36. For these things were done that the scripture should be fulfilled, a bone of him shall not be broken. Verse 42. There laid they Yeshua, therefore, because of the Jews' preparation day, for the sepulchre was near at hand. Now Yeshua's body was left on the cross until the morning, similar to none of the Passover lamb was to remain until the morning. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7 reads, purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as you are unleavened. For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. And in Hebrews 11:28, through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. Yeshua's sacrifice is the blood we can sprinkle on the doorposts of our heads and hands, meaning our thoughts and our actions, similar to the Israelites' doorpost in Egypt. So I hope that clarifies when the Passover meal is eaten. Is it the beginning of the 40th day, being in the 13th day, or is it the ending of the 14th day? They are to stay in their houses in Exodus because God is going to pass over their houses, and that night, Pharaoh's going to call them that night to get out, and they'll be leaving then, which is now the 15th day, but the crowing part of when they'll be leaving the 15th day. And here I take it back to the comparison of the biblical days and our modern calendar days.